A massive California wildfire continues to spread and crews haven't been able to get any of it contained. And downstate, police are looking for a man they say harassed a woman in another anti-Semitic incident in Queens on December 24th during Hanukkah. 1 year after skating to a silver medal, a Capital Region sled hockey team is looking to return to the Empire State Games in Lake Placid next month. As our Matt Hunter tells us, with many of the athletes earning a limited income due to their disabilities, they're seeking some financial assistance to help make the trip. It's an exclusive club. Just 15 people from around the world have run a marathon in at least 100 different countries. But a woman from Clifton Park has now placed her name on that list. Our Jackson Wangs shares her story. Well, a would-be robber picked the wrong house to burglarize on Thursday night. He chose the Rochester home of an 82-year-old bodybuilder who was ready to fight back. Well, that's all I've got for you on this half hour here on Spectrum News, but more of your top stories and your weather on the One's forecast are coming up right after this. Stay here. Things are just starting to kick off here in Saratoga, and I know you mentioned this is the largest celebration in the Capital Region. It's actually the second largest celebration in the whole state, followed by Times Square. So I'm joined now by Suzanne Simpson. She is the president of the Saratoga Arts Board. So talk to me a little bit about the festivities that are planned here tonight. You know, there's a sign here at one of the stores we visited that says 4 shopping days left, and that really says it all. I think meteorologist Ryan Finn told me before I left that they have about 27 inches of snow here in Glenville now. You can see it piled up here on the corner where they've been plowing throughout the day. It's pretty quiet here right now, but earlier today we met some folks who were expecting to have to dig out either again tonight or tomorrow morning. Some folks enjoying the snow and some other people who are just excited to be more prepared for the next storm. I'm Erika Leigh at the Yard Hatchet House and Bar in Albany, which was open for just 3 days before the pandemic shut everything down across the Capital Region. The bar's owner created a new product to try to stay afloat, but there's some confusion over why she's not allowed to sell it.
I did try some takeout options, but frankly, that's not sustainable for a business like mine. So since March 16th, I've been trying to come up with ways to save my business.
So while she was at home, Layla Keoghs, owner of the Yard, says she started experimenting with alcohol-infused ice cream. And that's how Boozy Moo was born.
We did our legal research in terms of, is this permissible? Alcohol-infused ice cream is sold throughout New York City, throughout the country. So I went ahead and made the announcement.
Boozy Moo was planning to offer samples and to-go pints of liquor-infused ice cream. Despite her full liquor license and the governor's executive order allowing to-go alcoholic beverages, she was contacted by the state liquor authority the day of her launch event, telling her she wouldn't be able to sell the product because only cider, beer, and wine-infused ice cream is allowed by state law. Now people are contacting her wanting to buy Boozy Moo.
There was some confusion on their part because one of the things I heard over and over is, well, I can go get an alcohol-infused milkshake, I can go get a frozen margarita.
The state liquor authority says it informed Boozy Moo of state law, adding, quote, "The law does not allow the sale of ice cream produced with spirits unless it is produced by a licensed manufacturer," end quote. But there is no state license that exists for manufacturing liquor-infused ice cream, only a license needed for wholesale manufacturing of frozen desserts, which Keoghs isn't doing. Meanwhile, other local businesses have been promoting Boozy Freeze Pops and frozen liquor-infused treats on social media.
As of right now, I'm making ice cream with beer, wine, and cider because I've been informed that that's permissible. It's just the liquor-infused ice cream is not something that I can make right now.
But all of this confusion can go away very easily. State lawmakers passed Senate Bill 7013 and its companion Assembly Bill 8732 back on March 10th. It allows for the manufacture and sale of liquor-infused frozen desserts.
It's incredibly scary and frustrating to kind of worry about, am I going to be able to survive this pandemic? So, the governor asked businesses to try to reimagine operations, and all of these challenges go away the minute that Governor Cuomo signs that bill. I reached out to the governor's office, and a spokesperson says they would look into this bill, but has not provided information about whether Governor Cuomo plans to sign it.
Starting on Monday, 4 flavors of Boozy Moo infused with beer, wine, and cider will be announced. You can start placing your orders on Wednesday, June 3rd, and then on Friday, you'll have the option for pickup or delivery within 5 miles of the yard. Reporting in Albany, Erika Leigh, Spectrum News. There are just a couple of weeks left to get registered to vote in the November 3rd presidential election across the state of New York. I'm Erika Leigh in Troy, and I found out what that looks like if you need to go register in person during the pandemic. After I had trouble registering to vote through the DMV's website, I headed to the Rensselaer County Board of Elections to find out what the process is. The deadline to register is October 9th.
Just give me a squirt and take your temperature.
In Rensselaer County, anyone visiting an office other than the DMV
97.3.
must enter on the 3rd floor and get a quick health screen. All right, we're going to register to vote.
All right, so all you do is fill out this information here. Last 4 of your social, your driver's license number. Choose a party if you wish. Sign and date. You can go over to that booth over there for privacy.
Health screen included, the whole thing takes less than 10 minutes.
It's a very simple process. By coming in, filling out the form, we stamp it in. One of our registrars will type you right in. You'll get a card from our office in about 2 weeks letting you know where your polling location is and the different options for early voting.
And while the in-person process hasn't changed much, amid the pandemic, Jennifer Wilson, Deputy Director of the League of Women Voters of New York, says they've seen people running into some other issues, particularly with the DMV's online tool.
The problem we've been running into, though, is a lot of people over the period of self-isolation, their IDs expired. And if your ID is expired, you can't use that tool. And a lot of times you can't even renew your license online right now.
Wilson says there are nuances with signing absentee ballots, too.
It's one of those things that people aren't necessarily aware of, that their signature on the absentee ballot has to match that poll book signature. It can't be like your new signature as a full-grown adult and not an 18-year-old when you registered. And if you do want to update that, make sure that you send in a new paper form so that the Board of Elections can actually update your signature in the poll book.
There is a new law in New York, however. If your signature doesn't match, your Board of Elections must alert you that if it isn't corrected within 5 days, your vote won't count. But there are other issues which could invalidate absentee ballots.
If you marked outside of the designated area, like even to test your pen, if you filled it out in not black or blue ink, like if you used pencil, if you didn't seal the inner ballot by licking that inner, the envelope piece, if you taped it shut or you just folded it in, they wouldn't count your vote.
She says they're encouraging voters to make sure their Board of Elections has their most current contact information on hand and make their voices heard.
2020 is a huge year, not just because of president, but we're voting for all of our New York State Congress members, all of our New York State senators and assembly members. You also will probably have a district attorney race or some sort of judge race. These are the races that you want to vote for if you want to see real change. These are the offices that can make the real change.
There are lots of ways to make sure your vote counts this year. Early voting across the state of New York begins on October 24th. And if you'd like to request a mail-in ballot, you should do that no later than October 27th. But election officials are urging anyone who wants one of those mail-in ballots to request one sooner. Reporting in Troy, Erika Leigh, Spectrum News. The American Red Cross is working tirelessly in the wake of multiple natural disasters happening all across the country, and it says it's stretched for volunteers. I'm Erika Leigh, and I found out why it's so difficult to get volunteers to deploy and what the commitment is like.
We have close to 60 volunteers that we've deployed right here from the Eastern New York region, which is an incredible number. But in the weeks to come, some of these volunteers will come home and they'll need to be replaced with other volunteers going out to serve the communities.
Christian Calloway of Albany is one of those volunteers. He's deployed 15 times over the last decade to disaster relief missions all over the country. In the last few weeks, he responded to Hurricanes Laura and Sally, and now he's in Oregon amid the wildfires.
There's so many avenues and so many challenges that if you like challenges, if you like wanting to just be part of something bigger, this is definitely what you want.
Calloway says they are taking extra precautions in shelters to keep people safe right now amid the COVID-19 pandemic, but are stretched thin of volunteers for a couple of reasons.
And people have gone out for the 2 weeks and now they've gone home, and some locations you have to quarantine for 14 days. Plus, we also have a lot of restrictions as far as coming out. age, health conditions, things of that nature, all because of COVID.
So the Red Cross is hoping some young, healthy people who might not be working or who've put off going to school this fall might sign up to help.
There's every single type of job position that you can think of. So the Red Cross can really use volunteers across the board. Even locally, when disasters strike, with all the volunteers deployed, we need to be able to respond to disasters in our own community.
While Callaway primarily works in logistics, wherever the Red Cross is setting up a disaster relief shelter and doesn't often interact one-on-one with those coming in.
I know that everything that I do on a bigger picture helps that person get to where they can, stand up. And that to me is the most important part. This is what I love to do. 6 months out of the year, I stay packed.
Due to the pandemic, the training is being done virtually this year and only requires a minimum of 5 hours to get started. I've put details on that and all of the other ways that you can help right now on the Spectrum News app. I'm Erika Leigh reporting Spectrum News.
Saw the impact that I had just being Spider-Man once for people, and so I thought, why stop? Let's keep this going.
He's just your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
That's a cool view. It's like it's kind of like you're watching a movie. You can actually see what Spider-Man would be seeing.
Unlike the real Spider-Man, this local hero isn't saving lives or stopping crimes from happening, but he's still totally famous. And with great power comes great responsibility.
What's your name? Brooke? I'm Spider-Man. Nice to meet you,
The responsibility to take lots and lots of pictures.
I'm not to get a selfie here.
518 Spidey started making appearances at birthday parties about 4 years ago, but when COVID hit, he took his superhero persona to the streets in Schenectady. When the photos went viral, requests started rolling in for the next place he should climb for the perfect Instagram. But he stops to say hello to nearly everyone he meets.
It's kind of turned into a very much a community thing.
And even superheroes need to work out when the gym is closed.
I'm climbing stuff all the time, and that's all a lot of upper body strength and stuff, so it keeps me in shape. Hi!
Another fan.
You want a picture? Yeah. Let's do it.
Hi.
Hi.
How should I pose?
Give me your best friend.
Being with 518 Spidey is kind of like being with a celebrity.
Just a kid from Schenectady.
And just like Peter Parker, well, he's still getting used to the suit.
Whoa. So sorry, sir.
This local superhero is about as average as it gets these days.
I kind of forget that people can't tell I'm smiling behind this sometimes.
The struggle we're all having right now.
I know, yeah.
Who is Spider-Man?
I'm just a guy in a suit.
Are you sure you want to know?
I got recognized one time outside of the suit, and that was really cool.
Lucky for him, unlike Spider-Man,
Okay.
he can still lead an ordinary life. Sort of.
People have hat hair, I have mask hair, so that's fun.
In Troy, Erika Leigh, Spectrum News.